Check, check. Are we rolling? Are we rolling? Yeah, I think we up and rolling. All right, this is attempt number two. I started earlier today, which is morning time. My name is Ty. I live in Stockholm, Sweden. I tried to do this earlier today, but I ended up not having good enough sound. I was getting that double sound thing that you get when you go live sometime. As you can see, the title says this is about U.S. current affairs and politics. Since even though I live in Sweden, right now this is one of the most important topics that's happening anywhere in the world. I really hope the sound situation is sorted out. It looked like it did from my end. I can only hope that I got it right. All right, so to explain again, this is pretty much a brand new YouTube channel, YouTube account. My algorithm from my other accounts aren't turned on here. I started out watching this Pete Buttigieg um, from Jubilee.
One of the great challenges in this world is knowing enough about a subject to think you're right, but not enough about the subject to know you're wrong. There's like a gazillion hours of me on the internet. In almost every case, I'm talking about the universe, black holes, the Big Bang, time travel, God. But what I'm gonna do in this masterclass is teach you how to think. The goal here is to train your mind how to see the world differently, how to question what others say. I've come to realize that there are three categories of truth: personal truth, political truths, and the objective truths that shape our understanding of the universe. The interesting thing about an objective truth is that it's true no matter what. Imagine that. By the time we're done, you will be equipped with some of the methods and tools so you can turn data into information, and information into knowledge, knowledge into wisdom.
Okay, so that wasn't even planned. That wasn't anything. That was just natural. That was Neil deGrasse Tyson. He's running something called Masterclass at masterclass.com. I think Neil deGrasse Tyson is probably one of the most, maybe not the most influential, but definitely one of the most public, you could say, minds of our time. You know, he's an astronomist. No, yeah, I think him and most of his fans would get angry at me if they heard me call him an astrologist. So he's a astronomist dealing with the stars, astrophysicist. I think he actually is. Neil deGrasse Tyson masterclass, but that just happened to come before we got into what we was doing. So we go to this. Okay, this is Pete Buttigieg. I think I want to start this all over, maybe. It's definitely worth starting all over. And the sound from the last one was terrible, so yeah. Let's start from the beginning. As I said, I don't have premium, so most of what's going to be happening here is the commercials. We do it natural. All right. So basically, one politician versus 25 undecided voters, featuring Pete Buttigieg. Surrounded is the name of the show on Jubilee. No one's paying me for this. Of course, no one's paying me. Ain't nobody watching. But yeah. Mrs. Jubilee and Surrounded, with featuring Pete Buttigieg.
Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Vicksburg, Michigan.
And I'm an undecided voter.
I am an undecided voter.
I'm an undecided voter.
What I want voters like you to hear is anything but a vote for her works out to being a vote for him right now. Yeah, because this is a swing state. It could come down to like a couple votes per precinct, and one of those might be you.
Everyone take a moment, cast your vote.
I wasn't going to vote at all, actually, but after hearing him, I'm pretty confident in my decision now.
Before, I was undecided. At the conclusion of this event, I did mark down.
I'm Pete Buttigieg. I'm a father of two, a veteran of the Afghanistan war. I served as mayor of my hometown in Indiana, and now I live in Michigan. And today, I'm surrounded by 25 undecided voters.
Okay. I think I tried to explain this before, and I'm going to try to say it again. It's always hard to try to repeat something and get it right the second time, or to have the same feeling in it as you did the first time. I think Pete Buttigieg would be an excellent candidate for president of the United States. But the transition, I meant to do a transition there, so that's what transition came out. But I do not think the country is ready for a openly gay president. Let me see. I don't think that the rural Americans would appreciate the value of someone like that. I don't think they would really go for a openly gay man being president. But I definitely think that he has the qualifications, he has the right mentality, he has the right life experiences, being a veteran, being a person that started off on the lower levels of politics and basically worked his way up out of, I guess you could say, actual interest and a desire to serve his country. So yeah, if America was, I guess you could say, more developed or better, Pete Buttigieg would be an excellent candidate for president, in my opinion. But let's continue on with the Surrounded show. Roll it.
My first claim is Donald Trump is only running for president for himself. Kamala Harris is running for president to make your life better.
I don't think that Donald Trump would be running right now if he wasn't in danger of going to jail. The man has been convicted of 34 felonies in New York and has a few more trials coming in Georgia, and I'm not sure exactly where, but in general, this man is, one of his motivations, if not the top motivation, I would agree, is to keep himself out of jail.
Morning.
Hello, good morning.
Nice meeting you.
Hi. So I agree with you. I think that Trump is very selfish. I don't think he's doing it for the people. He wants to do it for his own personal needs, or not really sure why, but
I mean, that alone should make you not want to vote for him. That alone should make you go from undecided to decided. I mean, why would you be undecided on a person who does not seem like they care about the job they're running to get?
I do agree Kamala is a prosecutor, so she
Kamala.
tries to do it by the book, and she wants to bring justice, she wants to bring equality, and she wants to do it for others. It's not really about her. So
Those 2 points alone should be enough for you to make up your mind. If you have a person who's trying to get there and do it by the books, and a person who you know is selfish and doesn't really care about the position, he wants more power, and like I said before, to keep himself out of jail, why are you still undecided?
I think that with Kamala, she's really
Kamala.
good, but there's things that have happened in the U.S. that it's like bringing really big conversations due to the fact of some people not agreeing with things that she's allowed. I feel like
I think a lot of people are stressing this idea of what she's allowed. I mean, according to American law and the way that the office works, a vice president doesn't really have so much power, doesn't have any power at all. The vice president is there to take over in case something happens to the president, in case they become incapacitated or they die or something like that. It's not necessarily, yes, maybe if they have a good relationship, the president would listen to the vice president, but in general, the vice president has no actual power. So I don't understand what she means by allowed to happen. If she disagreed, would you suggest she would have resigned as vice president? I'm not sure exactly what has power.
there's a different way on how we can do things. Just because the U.S. is in debt, 35.7 trillion, I just feel like the way that we make decisions when it comes to money and economy, every American in the U.S. should agree with. Sometimes decisions are made and money is being spread out in different countries or in different ways, and the people from the U.S. we're still in debt. We're still struggling.
Well, I mean, one of the ways to avoid a situation like a migrant crisis is through foreign aid, is to get people help in their country so that they don't necessarily need to go to your country. If you can help with poverty in another country, basic resources, infrastructure in another country, then they can build their own economy. They can build their own infrastructure. They can build their own possibilities, their own potential, and they won't need to immigrate. So that's why you have international aid and such, because to stop people overrunning your country.
We're still paying those taxes. So I just feel like we should meet each other in the middle somewhere, because our opinion really matters. With Trump, though, he never cared. So
Yeah. So I feel like kind of what I'm hearing you
Yeah.
say is you agree that Trump is in it for himself and that she's in it to make things better.
Yep.
But that still might not decide how an election ought to go because of
Okay, here we have voters starting to raise their flags. The voters can raise their flags when they would like a different speaker.
frustration about how things are right now. Is that
Exactly.
fair? I think part of what I would say, I don't disagree that we
Yeah.
got a lot of problems
When a majority of 13 flags are raised, a new speaker may step into the debate.
right now,
Yep.
right? I think part of what I would say is that every election then is about what happens next, right?
Yes.
And it's not that anybody's got an easy fix for some of the problems you just named. They're huge problems. That's why they're still there. Otherwise, somebody would have fixed them.
Yep.
But the case I want to make is that she's going to be better able to address them, even if there's no magic wand on some of this stuff, because she cares more, and because she has more specific ideas that I think are going to help. You take the debt. Let's be honest. The debt has grown under Democratic presidents and under Republican presidents, right? But I would also say the biggest reason the debt grew under Donald Trump was that he was using the debt to pay for tax.
Okay, fact check. According to the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget, laws that Donald Trump signed will add 8.4 trillion to the debt over a 10-year period. 3.6 trillion due to COVID relief and 2.5 trillion from tax cuts. I mean, okay. The 3.6 plus 2.5, that's 6.1. So that doesn't really explain the whole 8.4 original number. And the 3.6, you can't really blame him for COVID. So I don't know about that one. Fact check this. The budget is the budget. It's going to keep going up. That's how the world works. The world survives off debt.
Tax cuts for the rich. And
You don't necessarily need to make tax cuts for the rich, though. So that part is kind of a little shady. Anyhow, let's roll.
that's different from something that's the equivalent of taking out a loan for a business or a mortgage, which is what I feel was done on something like infrastructure investment, right? So I think the most important thing now is, okay, yeah, nobody's saying everything's perfect, far from it, but then what? Like, what happens next, right? And that's where I feel like the choice is so clear right now.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yes, yes, I agree.
I would have to agree too. I mean, the choice is very clear. I'm actually really surprised that it's this close.
If someone else wants an opinion, I can. Yeah.
Thank you.
Here is how I've won 4 times the World Cup Trading Championships. Explain in 2 minutes. Hi, I'm Andrea.
No, thank you.
I'm Sailor. Nice to meet you. So, you said that the
Hello, Sailor.
claim that Kamala's running because she wants to make things better, and Donald Trump says that he's just running because he is running for himself. I think anybody that's in politics is doing it for themselves, if we're being honest.
Slightly cynical, but
Anybody that's in government, anybody who's doing this, they have a background where they're passionate about something. But if we're being real, if you're running for president and you've been in politics this long, it is really truly about yourself. The issue
Can I
that
challenge that, though?
yeah,
I mean,
yeah, that's a little bit too far there, Sailor.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody who's running for president is without ambition.
yeah, of course.
But I don't think that means that your core motivation is that it's about you. I think that people, like you said, get into politics or public service out of idealistic reasons, you hope,
Yeah.
at least some of the time. But I think there's 2 very different paths in the 2 different candidates, right? So you look at him, this is obviously not somebody who, felt motivated to join the school board in his local community,
Yeah.
wound up running for mayor, and then ran for president. This is somebody who ran for president, in my view, basically as a branding exercise.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? This dude has been president by accident. No one that was serious thought he was going to win. He didn't think he was going to win. He thought he was going to have Trump TV after that. You know what I'm saying? He won, realized that he tapped into something that was happening in America where people were frustrated and they felt like they weren't being treated properly. They needed a champion to be on their side, and he presented himself as that. But he's not.
And then won. With her, like, she did
Yeah.
come up as a line prosecutor, right? And
Just running because he is.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody who's running for president is without ambition.
Yeah, of course.
But I don't think that means that your core motivation is that it's about you. I think that people, like you said, get into politics or public service out of idealistic reasons, you hope,
Yeah.
at least some of the time. But I think there's 2 very different paths in the 2 different candidates, right? So you look at him, this is obviously not somebody who, felt motivated to join the school board in his local community,
Yeah.
wound up running for mayor, and then ran for president. This is somebody who ran for president, in my view, basically as a branding exercise, and then won. With her, like, she did
Yeah.
come up as a line prosecutor, right?
Mhm.
And served as a prosecutor, served as AG, served as a senator, served as VP.
Serve, serve, serve. Serve the people. Serve the people. Serve the people. I mean, even if you think that, if you don't agree with what she's doing, she's been through the different phases. She's been through the different paths. She's seen politics on every level. She has the experience. Whether you think some people might think it's a bad thing. Rather send someone in that has no experience at all. That don't really make sense. All right, let's go.
I get what you're saying. Like,
Yeah.
anybody in politics, there's ego there, right?
Yeah.
I'm not denying that.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, I really feel that the things she's putting forward are more about solving our problems than the things he's putting forward.
Yeah, so I will say I'm not someone who would vote for Trump. I'm actually third party.
I see.
So Jill Stein, for example, I'm a hardcore environmentalist, conservationist. I'm an amateur entomologist, love bugs, but very big into the environment. I was a part of the Climate Corps in Michigan, so I know a lot about the environment. And I understand that Kamala has a lot of
Kamala.
initiatives that she's put forth. I mean, during the Biden-Harris administration, you had the passing of the American Climate Corps, which is fantastic because I was a part of that.
Oh, it's great.
However,
you served in that?
yes, I did.
Very
yeah.
cool.
So, but the problem that I see is I feel like I'm very against the two-party system. And it's because I used to be a part of it. I was a hardcore Democrat for a very long time. I worked on Alyssa Slotkin's campaign. I did a bunch of work. So I have lost a lot of faith in our two-party system, and I want to see something different. Because when we have something where it's insanity, you have the same thing over and over and over again.
But you have to work from inside the system to fix the system. You can't just say, oh, I'm just going to stop tomorrow. You have to take steps to get closer to the idea.
But here's what I want to try to convince you of,
Sure.
right? Yes, neither party is perfect. You've probably been let down by your party from time to time.
Yes.
All of us have. However, one of two things is about to happen, right? Jill Stein is not going to become president of the United States.
Tell them straight up. She's not going to win. A vote for Jill Stein is a vote for Trump. That's why people from Trump's campaign are helping Jill Stein stay on the ballot in certain states. That's why they're helping her with finances.
States. Donald Trump is, or Kamala Harris is, right? And all of the things from an environmental perspective that were just achieved, these are not like little differences between center left and center right, right? You got one set that's saying climate change is a hoax, it's not even a thing.
Yeah, I'm
And the
not
other
I'm
side
not
that-
in support of Trump at all.
Right,
This
right.
is completely
What I'm
against
saying is
Kamala
if he gets
and
back
Jill.
in, then the Inflation Reduction Act will be demolished.
That is
right.
right.
So every piece of progress, and if you're saying it's not enough, there's more to do. I'm not totally disagreeing.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is we've come this far. Like we have right here in Michigan, right? We have factories rising out of the ground making EV batteries that are going to power a different kind of future.
But what it's
Or it
always
could be
talking about
reversed.
EVs and solar panels. What are we doing to
One step at a time, homegirl. Things take time. Something's being done.
protect our lakes in Michigan? We have 22% of the world's fresh
Yes.
water. We have Pipeline 5 going through the Straits of the Mackinac Island under Mackinac Bridge, underneath the bridge.
Okay, but
in
on
the
that,
water.
right? Again, like she's going to enforce the Clean Water Act. He's going to tear it up. Look at what he did to the EPA the first time, and that's when
But
there was
this
still
is the
some
thing. You
some
keep mentioning
guardrails.
stuff about Trump, but I'm trying to tell you, I'm in between Jill and
But that's not what the race is. The race isn't between Jill. The race isn't between Stein and Harris. The race is between Harris and Trump. If you vote for Stein, it will take away a vote that could go to Harris, and then Trump will have an advantage. Now Kamala Harris will have to compete against two people.
Kamala.
Trump's fans, Trump supporters don't care about the environment. They don't think about it in that way, for the most part. I'm generalizing, of course, but many of them think it's a fake news, it's some kind of scam.
And this is the thing. Jill is fantastic. She's an activist. She has been doing this for years. And I understand.
She doesn't do anything all year round. She pops up when it's time for elections. She basically tries to steal votes from the Democrats. She's basically a shill for the Republicans. They bring her in. She snatches a couple of votes here and there and makes it more difficult for the person with the more reasonable ideas to move forward.
Kamala has also gone against BP when it comes
Right.
to, anything like that. But I just have a feeling that I would rather change up. I want to change up the.
Again, you just have a feeling that you want to change up. How does that work? Does your feelings tell you what's going to happen when that change comes? If you want to change up.
The situation that we have in America. If you look at Norman Rockwell's painting, it's called The Great Debate. That was 40 plus years ago. It's the same thing that's happening now. 40 years ago, same thing, and we're doing the same thing now. Why do
The same thing is not happening 40 years later.
we want to continue the system and not try to change it up for third party?
But do you really feel like nothing's gotten better in 40 years? I get that everything we want to have happen hasn't happened. So
Yeah, but
surely things have gotten better.
I don't want history to repeat itself.
For sure.
Thank you.
If you don't want history to repeat itself, you have to get rid of people who are talking about things like make America great again. People who are looking backwards. people who, best case scenario, call themselves conservatives. That means people who conserve, people who hold on to what was or what is. They're not looking forward. So if there's a chance of some party or some people pushing the country or the world in a particular direction that's backwards and that you don't want to go back to, then Republicans and conservatives in general are not it. I think I need to do a sound check right now to make sure that this sounds good outside. I think we'll leave it there with the first two, and we'll come back with I guess it'll be part 3 now, or attempt number 3. All right. Stay tuned, my lovely boys and girls. And probably ain't nobody watching anyway, but I'm going to take this time to do a little test. All right. Thank y'all.